Hey you guys, I hope you're ready because I have learned a lot of things from this group launch, and I'm gonna call this 30K worth of lessons because these are the things that I've learned. But before I say that, I wanted to just applaud you for being here, because if you think about being a business owner, this is a completely atypical career path. Like, it is going against the grain of what the typical society says that you should do. And that means that you had to overcome your primitive brain in order to start a business, to do something new, something completely different. And that is incredible. And if you are looking for support with that, I would love to support you in 6 months of coaching, because I still do one-on-one. And within that, I've worked with over 60 people, and I know that I still do a money back guarantee with that. Currently it's 6K for 6 months. And it's you get me within your business every single week to come in, and I essentially help you. All the systems that I'm giving the mastermind, the difference is we will actually go through and create them together along with coaching. So if that's something you're looking for, wanted to let you know about it. And now let's talk about the 30K worth of lessons, because I truly feel like everything that I've learned in the past 2 months is something that absolutely needs to be shared. And I thought about there's 6 lessons that I would give you if you are thinking about doing a group or something like that, or just in general. These are just pretty much general business things. There are a couple of tidbits for those of you that are thinking about doing a group. So the first thing I wanted to let you know is that the moments when you learn the most are when you make mistakes. And I think that a lot of us avoid mistakes because it feels shitty. And as a former teacher, apologies for the school system, because when we're in school, the school system makes you feel like a failure, which is a core trigger for most people if you are not constantly winning, quote unquote. So I think that there are 2 ways to think about it. It's you're winning or you're learning. And in the learning with the mistakes and the messiness, that's where you actually learn and grow the most. So it's almost like you're having to hack everything that you've learned from society, from school, all that. And that's what you have to learn is how to fail, how to make mistakes really fast, learn from them, and develop a mindset that can overcome anything that is going to deal with these errors. So I went to talk, I wrote this down because I was I don't want to forget to tell you something because this shit is so good. And I'm also going to put it in my email list. So if you guys are on my email list, you're going to get it there too. If you can if you want if you're more of a reader than a listener. But what happened is with this launch, I was feeling really sick for the month of February. I had a chronic sickness that was a bladder infection, and I was sick for the entire month. Full disclosure, TMI maybe for some of you, but I had this bladder infection and it was super shitty, and I did not prepare for the launch like I wanted to or anticipated. And then in March I got sick again. So it was physical sickness, and there was also because of that, my mindset was also really off. Hormonally things were going on, and it was just a recipe for craziness. And I want to let you know, that's one of the things I've learned, but all of that shit hit the fan and it still worked, y'all. It still worked. I have the best people in this group ever. They're wonderful. You're gonna see them. Already 2 people have sent them their little things for me. Another person signed a client the same day the group started. It's gonna be awesome. I cannot wait for you guys to see their journeys. But I did learn a lot, and I want to share with you what I've learned. So a lot of times within this launch, I was oh my God, why isn't this easier? This is so hard. And it really took me back to the beginning stages of my business when things were the most hard, because it was also not only was it things were really hard and you didn't know what you were doing, and it's kind of the building the plane as you fly it, but it was also it really took me back. And that's why I was I need to share this stuff with you guys, because I think that I'm really glad that it wasn't, because it helped me to learn so much that I'm going to do and improve for the future. So here are the things that I've learned. The first thing that you guys need to know, not just because I'm a coach, but mindset is everything. It is really it is the difference maker for every business I've seen that is like a successful, quote unquote, to society standards, monetarily, business, and the ones that are like really struggling, is your mindset. And what I really don't care who you hire. Like, I really don't. Just get somebody in your brain, because if you have a business, you're gonna want this. And I would be so inclined to say that you really need this. Like, it is so important. So here are the things that I did to support my mindset, and I'm really glad that I did, and I'm probably going to do this for every launch. So as many of you know, I am in the 200K Mastermind. It's a program with this wonderful woman, Stacey Bayman, and she coaches like 100 of us in that program, and it's 25K every 6 months. So it's a high investment. At this point, I've invested over $100,000 into her coaching program. And I got coached in that group at every single moment I could. And in front of 100 people, I like put my hand up and I was like, I'm really struggling in this launch. Like, please help. And I got coached like I'd never gotten coached in the group ever before. And I think I got coached like 2 times in the big group. And then I had my small group and I like asked for help and I was like, y'all, like, I am struggling. And like, that was everything. Like, when you are a part of things, I think a lot of us, especially like, not to be stereotypical, but like as ladies, we feel like uncomfortable asking for help. I think all of us do. And I want you to say like, ask for help, because people can help you shift your mindset. Also within there, I'll share like my 6th tool in a minute, but one of my peers in there helped to coach me, and she gave me literally like a $300,000 tip that was so helpful for the future. I can't even tell you guys, like, it was just so good. So, and we would have never met if I didn't put myself in a container with other entrepreneurs that were looking to grow. So like, being in a mastermind to help my mindset was everything. Getting coached in the group, getting coached in the small group, and doing one-on-one coaching with peer coaches, all of that was super helpful. I also hired an amazing nervous system coach. I'll tag her in this. Her name's Renee, and she's more of a subconscious coach. She's not necessarily strictly nervous system. And what she does is she was able to like use different techniques to like help me go through. And I just hired her for the month. Like, I was like, I'm just specifically like working with you for this month. This is what I need. And it was literally like worth its weight in gold. I also see a hypnotherapist, which is like a little bit new age, but it's different than therapy, because it's a lot of times like, instead of therapy where you're doing a lot of like typical cognitive behavioral therapy, it's a lot of like it's a lot of like talk processing, where you essentially desensitize yourself to trauma that you experienced, and then you're able to overcome it. And I've done that before, but with hypnotherapy, it goes like to a deeper level that's nonverbal. And I just really appreciated that. That was amazing. Johanna's incredible. I wish that she coached in the US, but she only makes an exception for me because she's amazing, and she coaches in Germany. But Renee does similar styles if you're interested in something like that. I also hired, you guys have heard me like sing Jackie Murphy's praises, I'm sure, but Jackie Murphy was my one-on-one coach for the first 3 years of my business, and she is everything. Like, I love her so much, and I hired her as my one-on-one coach to help me. She got this training with processing emotions, and she's just incredible. Like, I actually had my call with her today, and I was just like, oh my God, I would like, she's $15K for her one-on-one, and I'm like, I would pay that again every day. I'm learning like at $15,000 worth of lessons every single time we meet. It's amazing. So that was amazing. I also have my general coach, Sarah, who was initially helping me with weight loss, and then we shifted to like more of a general view, and she literally was like the glue that held me together when I was like gonna fall apart. I relied on her heavily because we coach on Mondays, and it was like I just needed her to be the glue that was gonna be like, you can make it through the week. It was like so helpful. And so I want to let you know that you should support your brain, and you can grow more than you ever imagined. The second thing I learned is that you do not have to feel good to help people. So I think that there's some like, and I'm not super woo typically, but I do feel like a lot of times when I feel good like this right now, like I'm definitely like in a higher value state of mind, I feel like I am able to help people a lot more. The thing is, for me personally, I was not feeling good. I was very sick. I was definitely like, also like just in a lot of mindset struggles and all that I've now like planned for this next launch. Like I'm going to fix that. But it was like, I was not feeling great. I was feeling like shit. And I was afraid that that was going to impact my ability to help people. But even though I was feeling horrible, like horrible, I was still able to sign 7 people. And this is going to be like a $17,500 launch. What? Even when I felt horrible. And I signed a one-on-one client too. So it's like, what? It's like, this is awesome. You can absolutely learn and grow from these kind of things. And I want to let you know that the value that your business brings will bring in your people, not feeling good. Obviously, it's fun when you feel good, but life is 50-50. You're not going to feel good all the time, but you can still help people and you don't need to stop your business. Moving to that lesson number 3, systems are everything for stability. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a system coach. I know that I do systems. I know that's like a thing, but I literally would not have been able to get through this launch if it weren't for my systems that I have in place. And that's because I'm kind of like giving you like a little sneak into like lessons 4 and 5, but I essentially changed my entire launch plan on day 2 of the launch. Like it was literally like March 2nd, and I got coached by that peer from 200K, Charlotte Smith, who I'm going to shout out in a second. But she literally like was like, you need to change everything. Like everything that you planned, all the reels that you have, all the posts that you have, they're trash, throw it out, do it again. And I was like, what? Like if you are someone who's a perfectionist like me, that is typically not very flexible, that would have freaked me the fuck out. That's actually with lesson number 6. But because I had the systems in place, I was able to completely change my marketing calendar. I knew how to batch reels very quickly. For what I ended up doing was with my marketing workshop, I was able to switch it really quickly, use my marketing calendar, change my emails, and I was able to apply it very quickly so I could succeed. Like it was literally like, you don't need systems, but it's like, if I didn't have the systems, I would have never signed those 7 people. There's no fucking way. And it's because I had to deal with the learning curves of something new, which are always happening with business. But if you've the systems, you've got that stability to keep you going, which is really, really important. Lesson number 4, learn from your mistakes. This was an expensive lesson for me to learn because it was kind of like a $13,000 lesson, because even though it was a $17,000 launch, I was planning on signing 10 people, and that would have been $30,000. And so with that, with the systems and things with the mistakes, it's like, what happened is the biggest mistake I made, like if you get nothing from this, and I know this is a longer video, but listen to it in the car while you're cooking, things like that. Take notes later. But with my launch, I did the first launch and I took the whole month of September or October to launch. It was too long. It was too long of a launch. And I had been told to do a shorter launch, but I was like, I'm just positioning myself as a business coach. I don't know. And I've been told you should only launch for a week. So last launch, it was also hell. It was so hard, that whole month. And then people signed up at the end, but it was really, really challenging. For this launch, I also was really struggling. And what I realized is that instead of planning a launch for 4 weeks, plan it for 5 days. Didn't learn that, because what happens is people get excited at the beginning and then want to buy at the end. So it essentially, for me, it was 3 weeks of hell. It was 3 weeks of me wallowing, panicking, questioning my whole business, which was fun. I was like, am I even a good coach? No one's signing up. Oh my God. Literally all the shit that you go through in the beginning, I just went through. And I was like, I don't even know. Should I even do systems? Does people even want systems? Of course you want systems. Of course you want an organized business. Of course I'm a great coach. I've literally helped, and there's not a single person that I have worked with in all 60 of them that I haven't helped. And I know you want this. So it's it made me question everything, which is really fun and very annoying. And so if I had been able to learn from that mistake from the first launch, I wouldn't have had to go through a month of hell. But now I for sure, the universe has smacked that lesson into me. I am for sure now only got to launch for 5 days, maybe 3 days tops next round. So get ready. Last month in September, it's going to be quick and I'm going to be in and out and it's going to be great. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, it's not a coincidence. Learn from that shit. And then you could, but the thing is, I also like put myself into my business. Like I was like, oh my God, it must be about me. I must be doing like a terrible job. And it's like, no. And if I had been able to take myself out of my business, I would have actually been able to troubleshoot and be like, oh my God, like it's that I'm launching for too long. I just need to move the launch to be a week. But it's hard when you've got yourself in it. So take yourself out of it. Get coached by everyone and anyone who will. I literally coach 5 times a week. I have 5 one-on-one coaches at one point. It's a lot of people, but I need it to keep this business afloat and like make multiple 7 figures this year. It's important. The next thing is that you want to work with people who have had different experiences than you. And initially I put this as people who were a couple steps ahead, but I think that first off, I don't like hierarchies, and second off, I think that people can be ahead of you in different ways. Like Johanna, my hypnotherapist, she maybe isn't making as much money as I am, but she's phenomenal at figuring out like my subconscious, and she's just like a brilliant human being. So I work with her. So it's like people who are, she steps ahead of me in that way. Renee has steps ahead of me with like the subconscious coaching. Jackie is financially ahead of me. Stacey, $12 million business. She's absolutely ahead of me. Charlotte Smith, who I'm about to mention, is scaling to $1 million this year. She hit 500K last year. So I want to work with people and surround myself with people who have been in similar situations to me and figured out something that I need. So it's like you want to put yourself in a position with people who are different and who have different experiences than what you've had. So on the second day, it was March 2nd of my launch, I meet with Charlotte Smith and I'm like, hey, like things are going great, but I'm kind of like panicking. And she was like, ma'am, you built up all this interest for this interest webinar that I did on March 1st. And then she was like, the thing is, you built up all this momentum and you didn't send a single email afterward. Didn't plan to do any posts other than the ones that were like talking about the program. She's like, that's marketing, not selling. You need to tell people why they should join right now, and you need to do like a 9 email sales sequence after your webinar. And I was like, that's not the way I learned it. And she was like, well, look at the people that you learned it from. This is what they're doing. And I do this and I made 500K last year. I'm like, oh shit, I should probably do that too. So I went in and I decided to literally wipe all the things I did for the launch. And she's like, build momentum again. How about doing a workshop? You don't need to make any PowerPoint slides. And I've never done a workshop before. So people really haven't seen me, other than the live coaching calls, like coach on like content and things like that. And I'm like, she's like, what can you do like in your sleep? And I'm like, copy. I'm like, I know how to help people with marketing. And she's like, great, do a copy workshop. I called it the Not Your Average Marketing Workshop. It was awesome. Like, and I'm very sweet. I have the best family in the world, but my dad was on the call and he was like, I've seen every webinar that you've done. Again, best family in the world. And he was like, I've never seen you in that kind of energy. It was so good. And I was like, oh my God, brilliant. So you're going to be getting more workshops, fun fact. And that's something I'm going to do instead to like, I mean, it was literally like, that's a $3,000 shift or $300,000 shift for me, because now every time that I launch, like I'm going to be launching for like the next 10 years. I'm never going to leave people hanging where they go to the webinar and then I don't tell them anything afterwards. I'm going to do emails afterwards. I'm going to talk to people about joining my program. No shit. Very self-explanatory, but like it was a very important lesson for me and a very important for you guys too. And I want you to just like, if you don't need to have people that are further along financially to help you, but you definitely need to have those people in there. The next thing is just be willing to be flexible. So as a business owner, there's going to be expected, unexpected, and times when you want to change the fucking course. You need to pivot on occasion. It's really important. And there is no such thing as like a perfect plan. But if I'd stuck with my original launch plan, I never would have done the Not Your Average Marketing Workshop, and I never would have signed 7 people, which is like insanely awesome. Like I've talked with like a lot of people, and like, you know, it's like for me, I'm like, oh, I didn't like hit my goal of 10. They're like, Megan, they're like, do you have any idea how many people have? It's like you can't compare launch to launch. And like I had 9 people last time, so it's like I was 2 off from the last time, and I felt like shit the whole time. So like, fuck yeah. But like I'm also like gonna do that for, if I hadn't been willing to be flexible, never would have tried the marketing workshop, and I never would have done more workshops probably this summer to like help y'all. And so it's like very important. So again, I'm not saying I've figured out everything for business perfectly, but whatever I have, of course I'm gonna share. And whenever I figure out something, of course I'm going to tell you guys. And I want to tell you that having a business is not easy, but it's going to be faster if you learn from your freaking mistakes. And I want to tell you all this because one of the reasons why I pay Stacy $100K is at our last mastermind when we were in Cabo, you might have seen the pictures, we literally spent 3 days talking about mistakes and all the business mistakes that she's made and how to troubleshoot, solve them, fix them, move forward. And that's the kind of coach I want to work with. I do not want to work with someone who is like, oh, I'm perfect, I figured it all out, because what even is perfect? And I want to work with someone who is always learning and willing to grow. And I aspire to be like that, especially by like sharing all these like vulnerable things with you guys. But I promise you, if you work with me, I will never stop sharing my personal experiences. I will bring the energy. I will have your back no matter what. And I will teach you everything I learn as I grow. So that's my offer to you. Let's totally work together one-on-one. It would be amazing. We would make all your systems and handle your mindset and help you grow. So if that's what you're interested in, I got you. We would do a consult for an hour, just talk about how we could work together for the next 6 months. And it would be really fantastic. But totally up to you guys. In any event, I cannot wait to see you next week. Live coaching call, Wednesdays at 11. And I will see you guys there soon.